Got it. Yeah. Okay, recording progress. My name is Jelmar Decnop. I live in the Netherlands, in Warmerhuis, close to Alkmaar. I'm now in Alkmaar on my garden, and for my friend Marco. He's not here. He don't want to go. You don't want to be in a video. He just want to be gardener, but he don't want to teach. So I will teach, but I'm also on his garden. I'm here on a permaculture garden from me and Marco, but we have separated gardens. But he's my teacher, and I learned a lot from him and my inspiration. But we have both different style of gardening, but the principles and basics come from permaculture, natural farming, and hill culture. I wanted to show you the garden and also harvest some vegetables and then cook with it. But today it's raining all day and I have to cook outside, so I can't cook for you. But I will teach you about permacultures, natural farming, and the relation from natural farming and macrobiotics, the relationship between those two things. And I want to start with teaching something about non-dualism and no concept thinking, or no concept being, actually. So I wrote something down. You can't read it, I think, but I will say it. Okay, I'll just say it or show you with my camera. So I want to show you today, or teach you today, about Permacrobiotics from soil to boil. So from soil to boil means actually you grow it yourself, you harvest yourself, you make it yourself, and you eat it. Well, a lot of macrobiotic people, they go to natural food stores where other farmers grow things for them, and then they make a macrobiotic meal for this, which is very nice. But I think permaculture adds something to macrobiotics, that you can also grow your own food. But before I want to teach you about permaculture, I want to tell something about no concepts, or like empty mind. This so I wrote down this. You cannot read. Okay, I will tell to you. This I wrote here are the words of a common fool. So I see myself not as the teacher, but a common fool. Are you guys willing to listen to a common fool? I'm not a teacher, but your students, giving himself the lesson today. No concepts. This fool starts with equality. For me, everybody's equal. Mishokushi, George Osawa, even Siddhartha Buddha, or Jesus Christ, you can name it, any teacher or spiritual teacher. Even you and me, we are all equal. And this is serious. It is not some idea of me. I'm very serious about it. Without understanding this, you won't understand their teaching. You won't understand my teaching. You have to understand everything and everyone equal. Not only you and me as human beings, but also plants, the trees. To nature, a plant, a herb or a weed is all equal. We are all in this planet equal. The second point is freedom. Do what you want. No concepts, no taboo, no rules, no diets. I don't do any diets. No macrobiotics. Of course, I try to study macrobiotics, but for me, macrobiotics is also a concept. No permaculture. I studied permaculture and teach about permaculture, but this is also just an idea. No teaching, no brainwashing. I want to wash, I wrote down, I want to wash my clothes, not my brain. And non-credo. One of the two things I learned from Osawa, from a book, and was the best things that he said is, first of all, non-credo. That means don't believe anything, survey or find it yourself, experience it yourself. But another thing he wrote one time in a book, and I never heard any macrobiotic students say that, is if you have a better way of living or way of life, do this and throw my book away. There was one of his book was one of the first words, and this is what I love about George Osawa. And the third thing is love. Last but not least, love and respect each other. Brothership, sistership, any kind of ship, we are all one. No spiritual blah blah, just common sense. This is not something in the air, but this nature. This is life. Yeah, again, we are just stupid fools, and we try to understand a little bit of a greater mystery, kind of. Okay, this was the beginning of my lesson. Now I go further to permaculture. I have to zoom in. Let's see if I turn the camera. I can do that. Oh yeah, turn the camera. Permacrobiotics from soil to boil. I wrote down in the middle, big life. For me, big life is macrobiotics. That is kind of state of mind for me, not the diet. Conscious and empty mind. And then on one side, there's macrobiotic philosophy. That is for me like more like the theory or lifestyle, Tao, Wei, Do, nominalism, and that supports spiritual development. And then that is more going up. Then the practical things is, for me, I don't know how it's about you, but that's my point of view. Natural farming and permaculture, but also is cooking, for example, is more the practical things. And that support again your way. So I also say many times, if people ask me why you study macrobiotics, I say I want the food and the things that I do support my way. I don't live for my food. Food must support me or my lifestyle. So yeah, this is my idea. So okay, let's turn again the camera. So for example, if you cook the whole day and you eat healthy, but you can't be an actor while you want to be an actor, or you can't be a farmer while you want to be a farmer, then for me, macrobiotics has no sense. Or diet food has no sense. So my dream is I like to do this. This is fun. And I harvest some vegetables and then I eat it, and I grow myself, and then I become happy. But I have more costs here, I think, than I buy it in the shop. Probably, maybe in the future, I will be more efficient. That's I have lower cost, but it's just fun, and it supports my aim is to be independent, to be self-sufficient, but I'm not there yet. If you look at people that live in the forest, like Indian people, Native Americans, they are the real teachers for me, because they live already in a food forest. I try to create a food forest, but they are my teachers. So that's why I also said I'm a fool. So I'm doing hobby kind of, but my aim is to grow my own foods, to build my own house, yeah, to live in a forest, to be one with nature. That is my goal. And I think the founders of permaculture, Bill Millison and David Holmgren, I think they had the same dream and the same aim, that they want to be as close to nature as possible, and to be like human being. For me, is also a sort of part of nature. We are nature. So if we walk around in our own food forest and we grow our own foods and then spread some seeds, and then we get a sort of exchange with nature. And that is what I try to create. But as soon as humans come in an ecosystem, they try to dig the soil, they try to use tractors, they try to think they're smart. That's why I say again, I like to be a fool, because that is what Fukuoka said. Fukuoka, he was a Japanese farmer who inspired actually the founders of permaculture. And he said, we damage only as humans. If we do something smart, like making a tractor, digging the soil, chemical fertilizers, putting everything in rows, we actually kind of destroy nature. So I think we must be as modest as possible. And then Fukuoka said he was kind of lazy farmer. So he do as less as possible. And that's also my aim. Then I want to show you some basic principles. So to understand permaculture, I think this is the easiest way. People, planet, profits. People, planet, profits. 3P. It's opposite. Okay. People, planet, profits. So people, you must take care of the people. If you have a family, you can say to a child to go to the forest and yeah, try to survive. So you must take care of yourself, of your family. You must have an income that is profits. And we don't live in nature, so we need money. So that's also permaculture. That you take care of your finances, your family, but always need to be fair. So if you give very expensive lessons about permaculture and ask a few €1,000 for it, and you become very rich and your students become very poor, that is not fair to me. So we must share. Also, if you have a very, very big land and it's very beautiful, but you use a lot of land, that's also not fair to me. So for me, it would be very beautiful if everybody in the world get a piece of land and do something what he like, maybe dancing, maybe farming, and share with each other. That is, and then of course people planets. So planets is, you need to take care of the planets. I mean, everybody's free, but if you have a piece of land and you put only stones there, or you use chemical fertilizers, you create a desert, you will die yourself. And your children won't be able to eat. So we must take care of the planets. And this people planet profits also supports each other. If you take care of the people, you take care of the planets, you take care of the people. You take care of the profits, you take care of the people. So it must be always supportive. So, see. Okay, then I will go to outside now. I talked quite a lot. I will go to show you a little bit the garden. It's raining, so be prepared. This is Marco's garden. This is cabbage. Can also grow in the winter. You can see here, he put all kinds of plants on his beds. This is mulch. In permaculture, you don't take anything out of the system. So this is all plant material you put on the beds, and this will be fertilized, will be food for your vegetables. Also underneath the beds, there live many creatures like worms and animals. And if you look to the soil, you put a finger, it goes through, very easy. It's very loose. This is because of the worms and creatures make it loose. And here you have soil where there's no plant material, and it's difficult to get your hand through it. The same is with roots. So the roots have difficulty to go through the soil if you don't cover it. It's very rainy here. He puts leaves here also to cover the soil, so you can put any kind of materials. Here he puts straw and leaves together. And on some places it's becoming winter, but he put potatoes underneath, and the potatoes grow in the winter. The soil is very loose. It's like air in. It's unbelievable. Here he has greens. Here is more, that's another way of permaculture. You cover the soil with plants. Because plants, they have roots and they come underneath. Then you take away these plants and you put on a bed. And then this will compost. So you can put it next to your plants and it will compost. This is mulching. Another thing you can see is he has a plan for his beds. He made a design. Permaculture make designs. There's all kind of beds. Here he do something else. Like here he makes sort of food forest. So this is a pear tree. This is olive willow underneath. And then Artemisia or smearwortel in Dutch underneath. They all support each other. This plant If it die, supports this, and this supports that. That's a food forest. And in the, now it's autumn, but here was growing many garlic and wild garlic, dustlope. So in this small food forest, grow food. Also wild. Here you can see that permaculture works. Here's raspberry in November. It's raspberry. You have food in November. We have food in January. A normal garden, in November everything is over. Maybe greenhouse. This is topinambur, also food for the winter. And again, all mulching. So in the autumn or the winter, you can put anything, but best straw or hay, the dye grass. You can put your hand in, it's very loose. You can put pumpkins here. You make a natural border here from twigs. So there's also permaculture, you use borders. You don't take anything from this garden. Me too. I don't take only vegetables, I take it home. I don't throw away anything, no waste. Taking care of yourself, you need to sit and have lunch sometimes. Then I go to my garden. But I'm still starting, so. Here's wild leek. Here's more raspberries. Border of raspberries. Here are all tomatoes growing in the summer. This is my piece of garden. It's also made with a design. Somebody's raising their heads. Here I was also mulching. I put many plants on top of my bed. There will be food to potatoes and pumpkins next year. It's very loose soil. Here I made hugelculture. This is making hills. And underneath the hills is all kind of woods. So I dig woods in my garden here under. Here under are trees. Is wood from trees, twigs and plant material. And I put soil on top of that. Oh, here you see twig. Here we put soil on. And this is, for me, experimental, but I think the best way of growing things like pumpkins, because they use a lot of nutrition. So you make all kind of hills on your land, and underneath you put big woods and wood pieces and your own vegetable. If you cut vegetables and you have waste, coffee, whatever, and you put soil on top of it, and there you grow your food on. This was a pool, but that didn't work because I had too much snails. So I cover it and I put pumpkins on there and corn. Now it's autumn, so I already harvested. I go back inside because it's cold.
Jelmar,
Yeah.
are you taking weeds? Are you weeding the garden?
Yes, but if I weed, I put it or on my compost place to make my own compost, or I put it directly on the bed again. And sometimes I keep the weeds, but I'm here on a garden, kind of garden, how do you say? Garden community, and they want me to weed a little bit. So I cannot just say I don't want to weed.
So you would prefer not to, if possible?
With some vegetables, if possible, yeah. For example, I experience that pumpkins, if you don't weed, there's too much snails because it's becoming too wet. And then the pumpkins are eaten, so I need to weed. And with cabbage, it doesn't matter. You can grow cabbage in between weeds. But if I make my whole land full of grass and weeds, they will kick me out. But if I use it as compost, then it doesn't matter. I can dig them under. I can harvest the weeds, then put them make a hole in the ground, put it in, cover it with soil, and then it's food for the vegetables.
So you're actually growing weeds?
They grow by themselves.
Yeah. You're replanting them.
Yeah, and I kind of, yeah, it can also be that kind of replanting, but it's more that I harvest them, I take them out, and I put them all on the beds. But yeah, Fukuoka, he said no. His principles were no weeding, no tilling the soil.
Right.
No weeding, no tilling the soil, no chemical fertilizers, and no pesticides. So he don't weed at all. Yeah. But I weed actually, but I put it back on the soil, kind of. But yeah, I think Fukuoka's method was the best for rice farming. And permaculture I practice the most for vegetables, and then food forest is the best for fruits. What I experience. So I use kind of three techniques to grow food. For fruits, I use the techniques food forest, for vegetables, permaculture, and for grains, I only grow once a rice, and it worked in Holland. And there I tried to use Fukuoka's methods, but I didn't give any rice seeds yet, but I'm still experimenting.
So is this a full-time job? You do this all day, every day? No, you have
no,
a job.
not this. No, I was working in a natural food store, But I stopped that last week, and this week I'm
Really?
full-time gardener.
No kidding. Oh.
But I'm in people's gardens, so outside. So I actually I cut the grass for people, or their. So that's not really this. In that way, it's not my idle job yet. I want to do this full time, but I didn't yet realize the principles of macrobiotics taking care of profit, because I didn't make profit of this yet. So I still need to practice. I'm still a student, you could say. I'm not a master yet.
Yet. Okay.
So I want to ask you if there's people have a question or want to share about what I said on the beginning of no concepts and an empty mind. Are there people that want to respond to that?
Do you get a lot of water where you are? A lot of rain?
Yeah, a lot of
So you
rain.
don't have to worry about the water?
It's not dry here. Yeah, the people like David Honkeren and Millison, the founders of Permaculture, they were doing things in Australia. So in a lot of permaculture books, you see many things, how to store water and how to keep the soil wet. But for example, my pumpkins, when I do mulching, my soil's too wet and I get a lot of snails. So actually I have to make it less wet. However,
how do you make it less wet? What do you do to make it less wet?
That's only about for pumpkins. For cabbage, yeah, a little bit. Sometimes I eat cabbage too, but less wet is. I don't want to make it dry and how to say hard, but I can put sand on the top, sand and small stones, and the snails don't like to walk on that when it gets hot. So then I can grow pumpkins or tomatoes. But in Holland, the climate is changing. So I also have drought last summer. So then again, I need to use mulching, so putting plants on top and giving water also.
Have you, when did you plant your squashes? You already planted them?
My squashes, like pumpkin and squash, like zucchini.
Yes,
zucchini.
yes.
It's the winter starting. There's only one season in Holland for pumpkin and squashes, so you do that in May.
In May?
Yeah.
Oh, winter squashes? Oh.
It's not possible. I live in the Netherlands. No, maybe in a greenhouse. I'm here. My friend has a greenhouse, but also there you cannot plant squashes in the autumn.
So what do you plant now? What are you planting now?
I seed winter rye. Winter rye and kale. Winter rye is rye, is a grain, but it's difficult to harvest the grains. I want to try it this year. Maybe I can harvest the grains, but it's a fertilizer, a green fertilizer for pumpkins, for squash, for spinach, So I am planning to do green fertilizer in the winter and mulching, so old plant material on my beds. But you need to adjust to every climate. If you live in California, then you can probably do winter squash.
Live in Israel.
Yeah. So that's then you need to take care of water, yeah. If you have too less water there. So if you need water, you can make swales. I did it here too, but more to get too much water out, but you can also to keep the water. These are sort of swales. For me, I use this to take out water, but if you have too less water, you can also put it. And here is a sort of pond. And also I want this pond to be permanent, so frogs can live in there, and frogs eat snails. And maybe I want to have ducks. So I make a sort of closed ecosystem.
Jelmar, Katie Turner is asking, how do you rotate your vegetables?
I make a plan. In January, in the winter, I make a plan. So I have many beds, and I say, for example, bed A, B, C, D, F. And then I look at the calendar and I see, for example, in February, you can already do spinach or porcelain. And if it's over, then in May I can harvest, and then I do pumpkin. So that's also part of permaculture, that you make a plan. And I don't do pumpkin on the same beds every year. So if I do pumpkins on the right side, next year do the left side. What else I do? But I don't also do only on one bed one thing. For example, you can do pumpkin together with beans, together with corn. The corn, that's from the Mayas and Incas. They make corn sticks. So the corn and the beans, they can climb on the corn, and on the ground, they do pumpkins. I also tried that and it worked also, but the corn, Holland is a little bit too cold for corn. At least my garden, but some people, they can do it. But also I have a lot of rats. So as soon as my corn was right, the rats eat them.
Mm.
And now I found out that you can put a bottle on the cans, on the corns, so the rats don't eat the corn. How do I rotate? It's not like biodynamic farming, what I do. I also do volunteer work with biodynamic garden. So they do a lot of rotation. So then they do 1 year their potato, and the next year they do buckwheat. That's green fertilizer or winter rye. And the next year they do potatoes there. And that is more biodynamic farming from Rudolf Steiner. But permaculture is more, you make a plan, you take a paper, you make a design, and you say, this is food forest, here's my house. And then you mix kind of vegetables on one bed. So there won't be easy potato disease, because you do potatoes and together there's garlic. And the garlic makes a sort of smell that's some insects or diseases, they don't like to be there. And also if you have one cabbage and you have only cabbage, if one has a disease, all have disease. But if you do cabbage then leek, then pumpkin, then garlic, then the disease has less effect. Of course, you need some kind of structure, so I don't do everything mixed, but I make one line with leek, and then in the middle, the next to it cabbage. So it goes like a sort of pyramid, so leek, cabbage, and then garlic, for example. And then lettuce on the bottom. So yeah, that's exactly that's the basics from permaculture. And I think it fits perfect with macrobiotics. I think we should teach this also in macrobiotic teaching, because as macrobiotic cook, as any cook, we must know also how to grow vegetables, in my point of view.
Seattle Mike, do you have any reactions to the philosophy that Jelmar was presenting at the beginning?
I love it. I love it. I love hearing it. I love seeing it. Even the snails. I enjoyed the stories of the snails, and so it's you can farm the snails, and there's a market. There's a market for them also. So,
yeah, in France.
Definitely. I'm really enthused to go to Holland and to bring my raincoat with my hood, and to make take a look and see what's what. I was at Bob Carr's place up in the Czech Republic, right on the Polish border. And there you need a good heavy jacket also, and he's doing wonderful work also. So definitely, yeah, I'll be in touch with you, and hopefully I can catch a train and come to see you. What's the closest big city?
Alkmaar. I'm 30 minutes from Amsterdam.
Okay, so the express goes to Amsterdam, and then the local goes to Alkmaar, and then I have to call you.
Alkmaar, I'm 20 minutes walking from the station, train station.
Okay, very good, excellent.
Yeah. So yeah, I heard also about Bob Carr, and he also thinks about building. I don't have experience with that, but he has. So I will hope. I want to visit him, and my sister also lives in Czech Republic.
Oh, so then that's what he's looking for. I tell you right now, he's looking for interns, people that he can teach, who will be willing to work at his place.
Oh,
so
I want to contact him. I want to be a student, or I want to work there.
And he put that all together with his father-in-law and friends, and it's really a remarkable installation.
Wow, that's really interesting, and I think that is a start of starting a worldwide eco villages, I call it.
That's it. And he has nearly 50 years of experience, and he's very happy to teach.
Yes, that is really it's like Fukuoka said, 99% of the world must be farmers. Then we come closer to world peace.
That's very good. We start with ourselves.
Yeah, we need to start with ourselves.
Yeah.
Better world starts with you and me.
All right, Jelmar.
Are there any other reactions?
Anybody else? Amanda?
I'm just fascinated about how you say you don't have to weed anything, because I just spent a year and a half in an organic farm and by accident, because I had to, you know, because I live in my van. And so, you know, at the beginning of COVID, when we weren't allowed to go more than 5 kilometers from home, my home was my van. So, I mean, where was my 5 kilometers from and to? Anyway, so a friend had come and park on my farm. So I parked up on his farm, and I started working because I just love having my hands in the soil. But his snails, I mean, we couldn't get to the strawberries before the snails got to the strawberries. The weeds just went mental because we'd had a drought and we'd had fires. Between the drought and the fires, the weeds just went mental. And there was no way we couldn't have weeded because they were like, you know, taller than us. If we didn't get them out, there was no, you know, there was no room for everything else to breathe and grow. So I'm just fascinated how you don't do any weeding.
Yeah, yeah. I do weeding, like I said, but I put it back on the soil. Kind of.
But what about, you don't ever get, like we have things over here that you can't put them back because they'll just kill everything.
Then I put them on a compost, how to say, in Holland we say compost hoop. So a place that you create your own compost. So
okay, but what if the seeds of the weeds are the kind of weeds that you don't want? You just don't want them.
No,
Anyway,
I use my compost, otherwise I could show it. But if you do straw and some plant material and then some paper together, and you let it for 1 year or 2 years, it becomes compost. It becomes like soil. And there might be maybe some seeds in it, but if the weeds come again, I take it out again.
Sisyphus.
There's no worry.
it's a lot of work.
That is the ideal or idea about permaculture. You have less work every year.
Yeah.
So the first year,
but I agree with you. I think it's very important in macrobiotics that people, you know, eat more closer to what's being farmed locally and organic. I mean, I don't understand when people make healthy food that's not organic. Like health and non-organic doesn't go together, because if you're eating chemicals, how can it be called healthy? So I agree with you on that.
okay, thank you. Yeah.
And thank you, Jelmar.
Yes.
I really
You're welcome.
appreciate your presentation. Thank you so much. Yeah. Give
You're
our
welcome.
best to Antiana.
Yeah, I will
Good.
say hello. She's in Macedonia now.
Oh,
I
okay.
heard, or she went back already to Netherlands, but she was again in Macedonia because she's doing also living together and farming with Vlado. Gardening.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Nice.
So